Hi, and welcome to our very first podcast or our webinar. And today we're going to look at PT success. I'm Chris Hazeman, and I'll be taking you through this lesson. Today we're going to look at the qualities and attributes that greatly influence professional success, particularly as a personal trainer. And it's very important that we understand that there are many who can become a very successful personal trainer without actually having a good understanding of the prescriptive science behind exercise, and there are those that have a very good understanding of the prescriptive science behind exercise and how to write a program, but don't have a good understanding of business and building relationships and the other qualities that greatly influence whether one succeeds or whether one fails. So we often refer to being the best PT, but often being the poorest. And so it's what we're going to do today is we're actually going to outline a lot of these qualities and make sure that we understand the fundamentals that are required for success within our industry. We've put this program together. It's taking us many years, and particularly with my background over the time, I've got to work with top tier athletes, both at a national and international level. And I've seen a lot of the coaches that have been around these athletes, and I've got to learn a lot of the qualities, and hopefully I'll be able to facilitate these or disseminate a lot of this information through this session itself, and this might help in your success. What makes it special is from where it begins or where it starts, and who chooses the beginning of the road chooses the place it leads. And what we talk about here is the importance of starting with the end in mind. How many people just wake up, open their door and get through the day not knowing what success is, what direction success is. And in many times you'll find that people have walked up and down the road of success and not known it. So you need to see it, and you need to be familiar with it before you can bring it into being. And we talk about goal setting, and as you will see as we work through these slides, how important goal setting is for the success of our clients as well as the personal trainer. But I would like you to look at it from your own perspective to begin with. And what I would like you to do as an exercise on the other end of the line here is on a piece of paper, I would like you to write down what PT success looks like to you. And I would really like to see if you were to arrive in the arrival lounge, what does it actually look like? Are you a person who has their own business, own PT studio? Are you working for a large organization? You might have careered off to a more strength and conditioning, specializing in sport, which could be football, something similar to that. It could be weight loss, boot camps. There is a variety of different industries within or elements within our industry that people can specialize in. But I would really like you to spend time to visualize where it is that you see success. Where is your arrival lounge? Once we've established that, we generally can look at things and achieve things when we can bring them into our vision and we can measure them. If they're not measurable, we find it very hard to establish these goals. Losing weight, for example, is something that can be measured. So we would define that by how much weight. We would define that by how long do you want to lose that weight in? What type of weight would you like to lose? Could be muscle, could be fat, could be both, or it could be the change in both directions. So I would like you to list 5 goals that will assist you in achieving your long-term goal. So where are you now? So to be a successful PT, no matter what your outcome was, you would have to start a course, you would have to gain a qualification, you would actually gain your experience. So as you can see, we could put in along our timeline short measures that will see us arrive at our goal, or we can measure it at any time as we work towards that goal. When will you achieve these goals? So then we put a time on that. on that timeline to where now we can start to measure our own success and how close we are to achieving it. It's how I like to start the lessons. This is about you. This is about your qualification, and it's about taking your place in our industry. And I like the idea of visualizing what success looks like, because personal affirmation is very important, in my opinion, to success. I've got to work alongside, as I said before, top tier athletes. And what I have found with those athletes that stand out from those that do not succeed as to the extreme of others, is that those that succeed have a very distinct plan. They are focused on the goal, and they measure themselves daily, weekly, if not yearly or seasonally, depending on the activity. You need to have a clear understanding of your PT identity. And what I'd like to talk to you about here is, before you begin on your journey of being a PT or a fitness professional, not everyone here is going to be a personal trainer. You may be entering this as an entry point into further learning. But as a fitness professional, I really ask people to understand, what is your PT identity? What are you going to bring to the industry? What are your values? What is your point of difference? And what energy are you going to bring to the marketplace? We talk about a point of difference. You can be a general practitioner. If we want to look at it from a medical perspective, and we look at our GP, sure, a GP earns good money. But when you look at the difference between a GP who will look at every medical issue that there is, whether it's a runny nose, a sore throat, warts here and warts there, earache, a stub toe, that a GP is a jack of all trades. They have a broad spectrum of knowledge and can cater for a large part of our society. But then you could look at a specialist, and a specialist who might concentrate on shoulder surgery. And that's all this specialist does, is concentrate on shoulders. You see, the GP has to cater and have a knowledge base from left to right, works hard every day in the surgery, patient after patient, patient after patient. But when you look at a specialist, the specialist only does shoulders. So when I'm a person and conveniently just had shoulder surgery, who do I go to? I go to the shoulder surgeon. Don't just go to a surgeon who does any surgery. I actually want to go to the surgeon who specialises in shoulders. Do I ask him how much it is? No. If I'm off to the surgeon who puts on the thumb that has been severed, I don't ask, because I actually need that thumb sewn back on. The GP is completely different. Works hard, has a good knowledge base, deals with the different issues at a different level. And I know from experience, I often have this joke with a friend who was a GP, and I have another friend who's a surgeon. I can ring the GP anytime, leave a message with his secretary at the reception because he's generally busy, or ring my surgeon. I often get voicemail or a message saying that he's overseas on some conference. And it's how I like to look at it from a PT perspective. You can be the PT who comes into the industry and says, I don't really have a point of difference. I will just service the market, and I'll make sure that I can deal with people who want to lose weight. I can deal with people who want to put on muscle. I'll deal with those that want to train for the Bridge to Brisbane or a longer run. I can train those who want to be a triathlete. So they're trying to now cater for a larger audience, thinking that that will fulfill their business. But as you'll see as we work through, I am a great believer that those who specialise within our industry, who have a point of difference in the market, of expertise that fulfill and bring value that is very much attached to their point of difference are those that succeed. And I just thought I would talk to you about that because as we work through this course, I really want you to start to establish what your PT identity is. You know, we can talk about things like colour, and for most of you, you will end up in the capacity of running your own business, whether you are working for a major health club organisation as a PT within that structure, or working in a studio or your own studio. You'll have your own business. You may have your own business cards, your own uniform, and your values and point of difference and the energy that you give will be broadcast through the colours that you wear, the colour of your business card. Is it black and red? Is it green and white? They're all the things that need to match. And we will talk about this a lot more as we work through marketing and branding. But I want you to start to think about who you are as a PT, and all the communication and all the signals that we give need to tell the same story. We can't afford to confuse a market that is already very confused. Let's move on. Keeping your choice alive. Now, looking at it from a fitness professional perspective, you need to understand, and what I would like and I would encourage is that people coming into this industry are those like-minded people that are here to share knowledge, to genuinely assist those that require help. People don't care how much you know until they first know how much you care. And that is how business is generally started. It's not about check out my biceps, check out my chest, look at my abs, I'll make a great PT. That is not what give people choice or make the choices for whether I'll take on this personal trainer or this personal trainer. It's really about caring. And I heard a great story once. I was in a seminar over in LA recently, a fitness seminar, and in one of the seminars we spoke about this very point, to where this gentleman made an effort that when he went into a town, before he would give a lecture, he would ring up various fitness organisations within the town, and he would talk about how he wanted to put on muscle and lose weight, or bulk up. He'd use these terms, and on most occasions, the response from the person on the phone was, "Come on down. Let me show you around the gym. Let me introduce you to the staff. Let me show you what a great facility we have." And he would say, "Yes, but I want to put on muscle, and I've been puny all my life." And he would be reinforced with, "Come on down. Let me show you around, show you the locker room, show you the fantastic equipment and staff we have." And the point he made here was it would be exactly like ringing up the GP saying, "I've got a sore throat," and having the GP say, "Come on down, let me introduce you to the receptionist, show you the facility, I'll show you all my tools of the trade." But really what he wanted to hear was, what could you do for me? And what is it that I needed? And how long did you want to give towards this goal? And it's the point I make here, is that it's important that we move into this industry as people who want to share the information and knowledge that we have. And we want to positively change and influence other people's lives. Now, whether it's making the fit fitter or making the unfit healthy, there are some of the decisions that I like people to make and see which end of the market they're actually on. It's very hard to succeed in both. As I said, I'll always go back to specialising and knowing what part of the market you want to service and specialise in. Remembering with people that is choice is often related to their own personal health, and what restricts them is not money or the capacity of money. It is generally, at the end of the day, health. So what I look for, and I'm going to talk to you in developing your own success. And these 3 Ps ring very true. And if I had not had this lecture with sporting teams that I have been involved in, from the Brisbane Broncos, and some background is I've been part-time with the Brisbane Broncos since 1998. Before then, I was a physical skills instructor for the Queensland Police Service, and I got to meet Wayne Bennett, who was a former police officer. And because of my wrestling background and my MMA background, very early in the piece, it was not very popular over here in Australia. Wayne had asked me to come in and do a lot of the performance work relative to those skills to Brisbane Broncos. So I got to work with the Brisbane Broncos from 1998. In actual fact, I was full-time on the performance staff in 2008. It took me that long to hang around before he actually gave me a job. But in that time, Wayne also introduced me to Jeff Miller, who was at that stage the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Rugby Union. And I worked for the Australian Rugby Union in delivering a program to the Reds, Waratahs and Brumbies on a weekly basis. So I flew around for well and truly a year, delivering a fitness model to those clubs. I worked with the Wallabies on several occasions in camp, the Origin team, Queensland, as well as the Wallabies, the Australian cricket team in a camp format. So as you can see over the time, I've had some good involvement with some top tier level athletes, and in every one of those occasions I have delivered lectures along the grounds that I'm delivering you, and they are about what success means, particularly when it comes to individual and team success. This come from a book winning, and Jack Welch was the author, and I've loved the way that these trigger the way in which we choose the people around us, we choose our teams, our friends at every level, and they are the 3 Ps. And what I would like you to look for when you surround yourself around teams that are winning are whether people are positive. Now, I believe that we're wired negatively and positively. And that charge is either way. There are those that are negative, everything is about doomsday, and there are those that are just wired to be positive. They find a happy side or a positive side to every scenario. There are those also that have the ability to positively charge others. Now, when we say positively charge others, have you ever been around people who, when you're around them, when you leave, you actually feel fantastic? They have this ability to make you feel good about yourself, your personal achievements, what you've done. But there are also those that when you've left them, you're looking for a knife so you can kill yourself because you just feel so terrible and life sucks. So what we do is we try to look at teams and having people around us that are able to positively charge others. And of course, then they're passionate about what you do. And these are the 3 Ps that I find so important, particularly in PT success, because the people who are attracted to those that are positive, so here you are as a positive PT, who is your audience? It is those that, I can't do this. It's too hard. Show me how to do it. You can do it. In actual fact, I will pay you to show me how to do it. So a lot of times, being that positive person, we attract those that are negative, that are looking for some positive influence. And often I talk about the PT at the beginning of every week having a full bucket of water. And what we do all week is we tip out our bucket of water into all our clients, and we make them feel good. We charge them up and fill them. We fill them with passion and motivation, and we get them through the session. We have them looking forward to the next session. And that takes a lot of energy from us. We're passionate about what we do. No matter how many sessions I've done in a week, I could be on to session number 50, and I've got to treat that session like it was session number 1. And that's why it's important that we understand the 3 Ps, because I say that this industry can be very short for a lot of people, because unless we are finding ways to fill up our own bucket of water when we're not doing our PTs, we'll find that that bucket runs out. And if that's a way that I look at PTs, surrounding yourself with positive people, surrounding yourself with people who positively energize you and are passionate about what you're doing, is truly a great trigger, or trilogy in this case, for success. There's often a scenario I do to provide the class, and I would like to throw this at you now. That imagine that there's 50 people in a bank on a Friday afternoon. A gunman bursts through the door, fires off one round, and shoots one lady in the arm. It's not a fatal shot, but it's enough that she falls over. She has to be taken to hospital. She has to have surgery, but she makes a full recovery. So let's go through this scenario again. It's Friday afternoon. There's 50 people in the bank. The gunman comes in, fires off one round, hits a lady in the arm, taken to hospital, and makes a full recovery. Would like to ask yourself, is she lucky or is she unlucky? Normally I would come back to that at some stage, but here is a perfect example to see how people are wired. If she was lucky, is because you looked at, wow, she made a full recovery. If she was unlucky, you looked at it from, wow, there were 50 other people, surely someone else could have been shot. And there are people who look at that from both perspectives. So that's a way of illustrating how people are positively charged or negatively charged. The business will only grow as fast as you. Attitude is more important than the ability in business success, in the ability of business success. And what we mean there is, it is all about attitude. Attitude dictates and is sometimes the greatest influence in a person's success or failure. It is the permission statements that we give ourselves to fail. Whether it be, I didn't have the education, I didn't have the support mechanisms, I didn't have the financial backing. These are the things now that we give as permission statements. And they are things that we need to come to terms with ourselves and find out what our own permission statements are. What are the barriers that we put in ourselves, or excuses that we give ourselves to allow us to fail? And you'll find that these very same permission statements are used by our clients. They know that it's wrong not to exercise. They know that it's wrong to indulge in certain foods in abundance. But how and why do they continue to do it? And I'm sure you'll find that there is a permission statement that they provide themselves. And what I would like to do with you now is to ensure that these barriers in front of you, if there are some, that we need to get over them very early in the course. And that is time. And let's look at time. One of the greatest objectives. I have clients come and say, I'd love to train, but I don't have the time. I said, why is that? What do you do? I leave work, I go home, and I haven't been at work all day, so my wife's had to look after the kids, so I give some time to the kids. I said, all right, I can understand that. In reality, dad's leaving work, getting home, opening up a can of beer, sitting in front of the news and telling the kids to go away so he can watch the news. He's been working hard all day. And when you look at it, we need to actually look at what the objections are with people, whether it's finishing a course, graduating, starting their own business, becoming a PT, or whether it's losing weight, changing life for a more healthier approach and lifestyle. But you'll find that somewhere deep down there are what we refer to as permission statements. And I will refer to permission statements quite a lot as we move through the program. Relationships are so important, and if not a big failing from PTs. Building a relationship. I now have a client, loves what I do. I love training the client. As you'll see, there are certain clients that will just fall into that attraction of, I love to train this way. I love to train clients this way, and clients love to be trained that way. And it's a perfect mix, and you'll find that after a while. Isn't it great to get that referral because they are similar people who love to train in a similar way, often with similar patterns in their life? And you'll find that this can lead to long-term success because it goes into loving every single day of your life and getting paid for it. So developing relationships is the best way to increase your business. I love the um, the illustration of explaining the objections to sales, and that is because most times we walk around with this screen of no confidence, and every time someone says, "Hey, have I got a great deal for you? I've got a special offer," all of a sudden my screen goes up and it goes, "Stop, stop, stop! I don't want to be sold. I've been ripped off before." And quite often when we look at talking to someone off the bat with no referral, that's how we deal with them. We've got to break down these barriers. We've got to gain their trust. We've got to build a relationship. We've got to have them make those decisions now that are built on, hey, I think this is good for me. There is some good value here. Imagine from a referral. I've been training with Chris. I've been getting great results. I'm loving it. He's a great trainer. All of a sudden now that referral rolls up and has an inquiry about training. I don't have to worry about the no trust element. The trust is already there. I now need to just provide the product and of course the service, and I have myself a new client that falls into that group of what I love and who I love to train. So remembering building relationships in many cases is one of the most important building blocks in building or establishing any business. Of course, we will talk about this in more depth in detail as we move through the business component of the course. If you want to be good at it, you had better learn to love it. A little note put up by one of my trainers once, and he had to move away. He was moving interstate, and it was a trainer that I had really clicked with. He knew me, he knew what I needed, and I progressed during his training. And the day he left, the next day I come to the gym and I noticed here was the note, and I never forgot it. If you want to be good at it, you had better learn to love it. Because being a PT, I don't promote the welcome to the PT business, become a millionaire tomorrow, sit on the beach, drink latte, do a couple of sessions, it's a great life. It's a job like any other job. In actual fact, if you don't like waking up early, it's even a harder job, because I talk about the market being thick and thin. There are certain market time where the market is thick, and of course that's early in the morning and later in the evening. And then there is the thin market, to where you need to be very focused on that element. So the person who loves it is the person who wakes up 5 minutes before the alarm clock because they just love to do it. They're energized, they're pumped, they're ready to go. And that, of course, is very addictive when it comes to influencing clients' attitudes and, of course, their behavior. And remember, my attitude affects my behavior, which affects my client's attitude, which affects their behavior, which in fact affects my attitude and my behavior. So as you can see, the Taurus box moves around and we influence each other. So that's why it's so important to have that positive, energetic attitude. And that comes about loving what it is you do. You know, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Don't confuse that. It's still a lot of work to do. But if I was going to work and get paid for it, I sure as hell want to do it in a market or an industry that I love. PT success, it's up to you. I need you to take some ownership during this course. Online requires more discipline. People talk about the differences between online and face-to-face. In face-to-face, we have commitment. We have accountability. If you don't turn up, I check it on the roll. I go, where were you today? We tend to work a lot better with accountability. But in today's age, we're all time poor, and so online has its market. And you now need to set your own discipline. You need to take ownership yourself and treat this with accountability and with a timeline. And that's why I like to see you set your own goals and use this course as part of that very first goal setting. It should be one of the first milestones to complete this course and be qualified to actually end up in that arrival lounge. Self-belief. Self-belief is something that we all need. If you don't believe in yourself, I am sure no one else is going to believe in you. Self-belief can go a long way. And it is something that we all find in different places and at different times. But this course is about building confidence, and that confidence is going to be built through truly having a knowledge, an understanding, and a skill set that is transferable to the workplace. And we will work with you to achieve that. Finding something to give, and whether that is time, whether that is giving up something else in order to be able to make this the time to study. There's a term that some people haven't heard for years. Or to commit to the course. A lot of times something will have to give. I remember once training, I was in Japan, and the promoter over there said, "Chris, this was very early in my years." He said, "You're so close, you just need to give more. You need to find some more time to train on this element of your game." And I said, "I already wake up at 6 in the morning and I train, then I come home and I train again." And he said, "What time do you wake up?" I said, "At 6 in the morning. I'm always training at 6. He says, "All right then." He said, "From now on, you wake up at 5. And it was as easy as it was for him, and believe it or not, I started to wake up at 5 and do my training, and that was something I had to give. In that case, it was sleep. But I found other ways around it. So it never comes for free. There's certain things that I think are very important in just overviewing the course of where we went through. And I'll just put on that last first slide so it doesn't become annoying for you here. But I want you to understand how important it is to acknowledge health and the investment in health. So I'm just going to change the way that we think. And if you change the way you look at things, the things you see change. Remember that. Change the way you look at things, the things you see change. And I'm going to talk about quite some frequently used objectives when it comes to personal training. And money's always one. You know, I love the idea that it's too expensive to train. It's too expensive to take on a personal trainer. I don't know what I'm doing and I can't do it on my own, and I can't afford a personal trainer. We're going to do a little exercise before we finish today. And what I would like you to do is write down, out of a score of 1 to 10, how important fitness or health and fitness is to you. So what I'd like you to do now is just write down on a piece of paper how important in your whole life, there's family, there's work, there's social time or entertainment. Out of 10, where does your own personal health and fitness score on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, the point I'm going to make here is there will be some of you, I hope, that have put a 10 out of 10. That's where I am. I'm very selfish when it comes to it. And my own personal health and fitness actually probably comes above everything else. Because I look at it from a perspective, without my health and fitness, I can't provide for my family. I can't go to work and succeed and give everything that I could give to work. And I feel good about myself. So my attitude then rubs off on everything else and influences everything else in my life. And quite often, I've done this hundreds of times, the average score is around about 8. So If you've got 8, well done, you hit average. And because people see that family's more important, work and getting the money to feed the kids or feed the family, put food on the table is important, pay the rent, I get it. But when it comes to now weighing up how much you would actually give for a personal trainer or for training, will be valued against what you value your own health and fitness to be. I can guarantee you that the people who score a 10 would actually pay more for health and fitness than those that scored an 8. Imagine those that have scored a 4. It doesn't really mean much to me. I'll think about it one day. I know it's there. How much would they pay for a personal training session? Not much. $5. And they're probably wanting some change. It's the first session free. You see, and as we start to go up your rates, I'm just going to throw these numbers, you might think that, hey, $50 is a good price to pay for a personal training session. And the 10 out of 10ers are looking at $75, $100. If it's a specialist session that's going to make me perform better than last week or have me win gold at the Olympics, I put that's how much I want it. So I could do myself, when it comes to looking at where I sit in the market, I could say, well, where the average is, it's around about 8. So what I'll do is I'm going to charge $50 an hour because I know that the majority of the market sits around about that value in their belief system. Or what I could do is I could sit down with you, who are an average of 8, and I could start to talk about how important fitness is to you. And I could look at raising the number of your own self-evaluation of your own fitness and where it scores. Do you think that would be a better way of doing it, of bringing my 8s up to 10 and saying, how would your family feel if you had fallen sick, or that you didn't care about your health and fitness, or you gave it a second rate in the things that you did? You could do the same in time. So when time is an objective, do you think your family wouldn't give up time, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a week, to see a more happier, healthier father or mother or partner? So I just wanted to run through very quickly how we can change the way that we look at things with health and fitness. And if we come into this industry with the right attitude, that it is about instilling the quality of health and fitness as opposed to instilling the number or the figure behind how much we are paid. One will look after the other. If I can create a culture within my clients or within my workplace that values health and fitness, and I am the contributor to that, I'm the leader of it, come with me and I will take you there, or I will assist you in getting there, you can see that that raises the value just on its own. People often talk about product, and I often talk about that, our course as well. If I could, what makes us successful at FIT, as I always say, you can get a certificate, but the certificate actually tells you something at the end of the day as well. And the certificate actually gets a response at the end of the day, because as much as we are a large industry, we're also a small industry. And we're very proud of the message and the communication that our certificate provides at the other end for our user. And courses are very much the same. People who take on training programs are very much the same. You could take the cheapest option, or you can take the quality option. Not that price and quality are always the same, but if I was to say to you, we're going to hop in a plane and we're going to go 11,000 feet in the air, and we're going to jump out of that plane. And today I have 2 parachutes for you. This parachute here is a $2 parachute, and this parachute over here is a $200 parachute. They are both the same, but this pile is the $2 pile, and this pile over here is the $200 pile. Ask yourself, which parachute would you invest in? I'm guessing that most of you have bought the $200 parachute. And there's probably one of you that is sitting in the plane as we get up 11,000 feet in the air and everyone is looking at you. And you're probably thinking, I wonder what was wrong with that $2 parachute. Maybe nothing. But the point I'm going to make here is when we rely on it, we will invest in it. If I was to say to you, hey, we're just going to practice 1 meter jumps off the bench with the parachute on our back, who wants the $2 parachute? Who wants the $200 parachute? Because it doesn't mean anything and it serves no purpose in our investment or in our safety, that we will probably take the cheapest option. And that's how I like to see health and fitness. I like to see us as a quality provider. We like to educate people and those who are going to invest in our industry, going to contribute to our industry, and they're going to have a point of difference, which is to really make their mark through success as a fitness professional. That about wraps it up today, and this gives you an idea that our sessions will go for about 45 minutes, and I think that they're long enough that you can listen to them and provide some good quality. And we're going to move into our next session, which at this stage is planned to be communication, and we'll be hosting that next. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Thank you.